was a little bit of instant decision because, don't judge me, I used to watch Friends a lot.
Okay.
So me and my friends all decided that what if for our future studies we move to another country and experience like
Back in Nepal, that you want to move to Australia. What was going through your mind?
it was, I think, 2018. Finding jobs is one of the hardest things, but I would not say it's the main struggle.
Okay.
I think
Elaborate more.
yeah, because finding a job eventually you do. So I was in student visa first time, and then I had to extend it when I went to Bachelor's of Community Services. And at the end, this is a long story, but because of some things that universities and colleges do, their policies and stuff, I had to do my last internship after I finished all my other studies. It just happened to work like that. So I had to extend my student visa one more time. So in total, I extended twice. Nobody was calling me for an interview. And even if I did go for an interview, I would never get a call back. So it took a long while to get my first job.
Welcome to From Unrooted to Rerouted, where we share real, unfiltered stories of migrants and international students, those who have left everything familiar to build something new, something from scratch. This isn't about success stories, it's about the messy middle, the doubts, the hustle, the loneliness, and the moments of unexpected joy. Esta's journey from Nepal to Australia is more than just a move. It's a story of courage, sacrifice, and starting over. In this episode, she opens about real struggles of international students, from feeling lost into a new culture to rebuilding her support system from scratch. Esta shares how she found resilience, navigated setbacks, and built a sense of belonging far from home. If you want to hear honest lessons, practical tips, and emotional reality behind every migrant's dream, this conversation with Esta is for you.
Hi, okay, thanks for having me.
So, can you take us to the moment where you decided back in Nepal that you want to move to Australia? What was going through your mind?
It was, I think, 2018. Honestly, it was a little bit of instant decision because, don't judge me, I used to watch Friends a lot.
Okay.
So me and my friends all decided that what if for our future studies we move to another country and experience like, abroad studies with friends, and it's going to be so fun. And that is how the idea came to my mind because all of my friends were also planning the same thing. So eventually, after deciding through a lot of countries, I eventually decided to Australia.
Friends for future studies sounds good.
It does sound good, but it didn't end up good though.
So where are your friends now?
Some are still here, some are not. But like life doesn't end up how you want it to be. So it's a little bit tricky.
What was your biggest fear before coming here, and did it turn out to be true?
Honestly, before coming to Australia, I think I was much more excited than being nervous or having any fears. So I didn't have any fearful thoughts back then. But after coming to Australia, living for a little bit, slowly I think I started fearing like, what if one day I run out of money, or like, what if I work so hard that maybe I, get tired and can't go to work tomorrow or can't go to school tomorrow. So I think for me, I was more scared after coming to Australia, not before. Yeah, it's a surprise.
And why is that?
Because before I came here, I was just too happy and excited to be going to a new country. I didn't really think about the things that would happen behind the scenes, because everybody shows such a happy and like such a successful life. Everybody's doing something good, they're earning so much money, so it doesn't look like it's gonna be scary. But when you come here and you experience everything firsthand, that's when it's like, yeah, there's not much way out. You have to do something anyhow. Yeah.
So I come from a background where Punjab, India.
Yeah.
And in the reels, when initially I also thought to come to Australia, so I saw there's a lot of Ford Mustang car reels.
Okay.
As guys, we are very fantasized by cars.
Yeah.
So I used to see, oh my god, going to Australia you get a Mustang. Okay, let's just plan for that. Sounds weird today, right?
Yeah.
But nobody tells you the process, the
Uh-huh.
hustle, the the slicks in between.
Yep.
So was that the same or similar story with you guys as well? Or you
Yes,
as
similar.
well?
Because the thing with our culture, like I don't want to speak for everybody, but from what I have seen personally is when people are abroad, they only try to tell you the good things. Like they will try to say like, oh, I've got a job in this place, oh, I'm doing good, oh, I'm doing this, but they don't really want to share all these struggles to their parents or like to the relatives, right? So back home, what we hear is like, oh, they're doing so good over there. Maybe there is something good in Australia that we should also go and do. So you don't really hear the struggles that much.
Do you have any relatives here before you came to Australia?
I did. Actually, I'm really thankful because when I first came here, I did have my cousin here. So he was there at the airport. I lived with him for a while. So I actually had a good starting in Australia, that I had already someone who was already living and he already knew about Australia a little bit.
Okay. Did he support you in all sense, like practicalities, rentals and groceries,
Yes.
and getting a job? Because that is very hard, right? As
It
an
is.
international
Yeah.
student.
So since I came to Australia before COVID, getting job was a little bit harder because at that time I don't think there was that much vacant jobs, you know. So in that terms, my brother did help me a lot. He made sure I had the correct resumes before applying for jobs, and he also introduced me to some of the part-time jobs he had done before. And even for my rents, he did not ask me to pay rent until I had my first job, which was 3 months after coming to Australia. I know that's a long time. Usually people get jobs in like max a month, I guess, right? But for me, I had to wait like 3 months because nobody was calling me for an interview. And even if I did go for an interview, I would never get a call back. So it took a long while to get my first job.
So where did you apply the jobs? What are the portals?
Portals, I think I applied, there was something called Gumtree. I don't know if people still use that. There was Gumtree and Zora Local and obviously Indeed and Seek. And I always liked going to the shop myself and dropping my resume.
So you apply online and then you see the vacancy, there's something vacant as a position near my house of the
Yeah.
place I'm living in. Then you physically go and then you give the resume so that it gives a good impression that you're really keen in getting a job, and then you actually took a step extra to, you know, show that you really want the job as well.
Yeah,
You'd be a good
correct.
fit.
So I went in person because I was never getting a call back. So in my mind, it was like, oh, if maybe they're really desperate, what if they just ask me to do an interview right now? You know, like that's a better, I think, opportunity than applying my resume. Like it's better to put a face to the name, you know, than just reading a resume. So
Sounds good. Sounds like you've come. So was that the hardest part when you moved to Australia, or is there something else that you would label it as the hardest thing to do in Australia?
finding jobs is one of the hardest things, but I would not say it's the main struggle.
Okay,
I think
elaborate more.
yeah, because finding a job eventually you will find one. It's also on you that you are happy to do any job, because when I was first applying, this is a maybe like a funny story, but I didn't know what different job titles meant. So I was applying for anything and everything I see. Whatever came up on my like Zora Local, I was applying for each and every job. And then I would ask my brother like, oh, I got a call back for like this job, and he's like, oh, what's the job? And I was like, sandwich maker. And he's like, have you ever made sandwiches? And I was like, no. So it's like, oh, I think they need experience. I was like, oh, is it? So like I didn't even look for anything. I was like, I'm desperate, I need a job, I'm gonna do anything. So I feel like if you're ready to do any kind of job, you will eventually find one. If you have the mindset that yeah, I will do it, it's okay. But the hardest thing is for me was, how do I put it nicely, like saving money.
Okay.
Because you do earn a little bit, right? Like you pay a little bit on your fees. Like for me, my dad helped me a lot, so I had to pay just a part of it. So I would do some extra shifts and I would get some extra money, but for so long I never knew how to save my money. So I think that has always been my hardest part. Like even though I'm running around doing jobs, but at the end of the week I would never have much left in my account, and that would make me really sad because a lots of things that I wanted to do I couldn't do, and I don't know where my money was going.
How did you learn saving money then?
Being very honest, I only started like very recently. That was after I started working full time, and I started understanding that I don't have to eat out every day. I don't have to buy a drink every time I go out. So I just started saving a little by little, and then soon it was like habitual. Like I just stopped spending so much on unnecessary things. So yeah.
Define unnecessary things, because it will be very different for you, very different for me, and someone in the audience listening to this
That's
podcast.
true. So for me now, unnecessary things are like when I'm going out, like having coffee. Like if I've already had one coffee in the morning, I don't really need to go out and just buy a coffee just because I'm feeling like having a coffee, right? Or worse is like having a cookie with your coffee. You don't really need that cookie, but because you're in the cafe, you see it, you buy it. And other things are like just going shopping, just say like, oh, you're window shopping and you find a really cute, I don't know, shoes. And you're like, oh, well, I do need a shoe. I'm going to like, gym or whatever, I will buy a shoe. But you don't really need that shoe. You have like 5 others at home. So those kind of things, I think now I find unnecessary. Before I would have done it every week.
Yeah, the cookie with coffee does sound unnecessary or
but
an impulse purchase.
But it's so good. Always feels so good.
Maybe you haven't had your breakfast that day, so you might have taken or bought that cookie because
Trust me, again, even if I have had breakfast, I will have the cookie.
Okay. So, have you ever felt like giving up because of so much struggle, just giving up and go back home, and then you are ready to face the criticism, the questions from your parents, immediate family members, and friends?
100%. Because little bit TMI about me is like my mom, she's a little bit more emotional than me. So whenever I'm having a hard time, she's always like, it's okay, you can come back, like we're still here, you can have like study here, you don't have to do so much. So in my mind, I always had like, if I ever have a problem, I still have an opportunity to go back, which in my opinion right now I think is a very bad mindset, because always having that safety net of like, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'll just go back. That's a very bad mindset for me, I think.
So not having a backup plan is a bad mindset?
Not a backup plan, but like a safety net. I think it's a little bit different. Backup plan is like, oh, if I go to this interview, it doesn't work out, it's okay, I have like 2 other interviews. That's my backup plan, Although this is my desired job, I will go and do other jobs. But like a safety net is like, okay, if I don't get through any of these interviews, I have my savings and I'll just use all my savings and I won't work. That's like a safety net, like you, in back of your mind, it's like, even if things don't work out, it's okay, I can give up because I have this thing. So for me, for a little while, I had this safety net that I was like, if it doesn't work out, if it's gonna be this hard, I might just go back to Nepal, which I don't think is a good mindset now that I think of it. And as you asked before, like if I had struggled so much that I would wanna go back, for me, it wasn't more of a struggle. It was, I had few injuries in my knee. So at those times, like I had to stay 8 weeks at home. I couldn't work, I couldn't go out, I couldn't cook, I couldn't do anything. So those times I really felt like, I am not even earning any money, I'm not really doing much. And I feel so lonely because you're sick, you're at home, right? So those times I really wanted to just be like, oh, I might just go back. I was very, very close to making that decision at
And
one
how
point.
did that happen?
The injury or
Yes, the injury.
The injury was, my first injury was on my ankle. I tore my ligament. So that was just me being stupid and getting off the bus, and then I didn't land properly. So it was so bad because it was 5 minutes before my work started. So I couldn't even get any work compensation because I was not actually working. So I had to just stay 8 weeks without pay, without no money at all, just at home. And I can't walk. I have a torn ligament on my ankle and full 8 weeks bed rest. So it was pretty difficult.
Sounds really difficult to me as well.
Yeah.
Because as an international student, and here everything works weekly, right?
Yep.
So as an international student, you've got your weekly rents, groceries, and your not transportation, but your personal expenses as well. When you're at home, of course, you'll watch something. You need Netflix or OTT platforms as well. So you need money for all of that.
Yeah.
But then,
for me at that time, because I couldn't walk, right? I couldn't stand on it for long. So I had to get Uber Eats a lot. I had to order food in a lot. So I'm not earning money, but I'm spending so much on takeout food, food delivery. So that was a bit harder too.
And Uber Eats is expensive as well.
Yes, yeah. They charge service fee, delivery fee.
It's like, I've read somewhere that it's 20 to 35% inflated price from the menu items, just because that's how they earn money, right?
Is it?
Yeah. So they earn money through inflated pricing in menu.
Okay.
So anything which is $18,
Yeah.
you'll find the same thing, even for pickup,
Yeah.
for $19.5 or $20. And then you'll have the service charge, and then you'll have the delivery charge as well. And then because they also have to be delivery driver as well, right? So that's how they earn money.
No wonder it's so expensive.
Yeah. So moving on. As an international student, what is one thing which you say nobody prepares you for?
Just one thing.
For
Can
now,
I list
one
a
thing.
few? One thing is I think how lonely you feel because after one point it's very hard to make friends.
So you said you were living with your cousin.
Yes.
So you have your immediate family member. So define loneliness for me.
That's a very good point. I think even if you live with your relative, even when I was living with my friends, my bestest friends, right? Very close to, I would feel lonely because there are times that they are tired from work, you are tired from work, especially if you're working in like service industry, you speak to so many people all day, you don't want to come home and just start talking to other people again. You're just so drained, all your energy is drained. So those times you just want to sit by yourself, but then you also feel like you're missing out on so much because you're working all day, you come home and you're drained and you just sit on your couch. And I feel like for me, that is kind of loneliness, like just being by yourself and you have no energy to talk to anyone. Even if somebody wants to talk to you, you don't really want to talk to them because you're like, oh, I don't really have the energy for this right now. And you have work again tomorrow morning, so you don't want to go out for dinner, like you don't want to go out, hang out with your friends because again, you're going to drain your energy and you won't be able to work as better as you do on your job next day. So because you're considering all these factors and end of the day you're just by yourself in your apartment and you're just feeling like, oh, I'm missing out on so much. I think for me that was the loneliness that I struggled with. Just picking between the both, like social and professional. Yeah.
So how did you balance between your study, your work, your mental health?
I didn't really balance, I just winged it. It was hard, because I really enjoy having social time with my friends, my family too, right? So sometimes I would try to squeeze it in the weekend, but when I was a student, there was no weekend. It was, you work 2-3 jobs, so you don't really have weekends, you might have one evening free. So do you really want to go out, hang out with your friends, or do you just want to stay home and recharge? So maybe once a month or once in 2 weeks, we would make some plans, have dinner outside and just, wing it. There was really no balance.
Alright, so tell me about the journey from 2018 up until now. What was the visa? Where did you study? I feel like I should have asked you this before, but
Almost at the end.
No, we are just 1/3.
Oh.
Halfway. Not even halfway. It's a lot going on. So tell me about the journey from the start, where you came in 2018, and then I do know, but just for the viewers and people who are listening to this podcast, what after coming here, what did you do? What visa were you on? What are you doing right now? What is the exciting thing you're doing?
Basically my summary.
Yes.
Okay. So As you know, I came in 2018 and I first started my journey by doing diploma of IT. And after finishing my 2 years of diploma course, I realized that that's not really what I want to do, because I couldn't just see myself in the future, being in the IT industry. Just knowing that there's so much that it takes behind the scenes to be the best one, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. So I looked for other courses, and I've always been very interested in biology, and I really wanted to do physiotherapy. And the other two options that I wanted to do was like early childhood education and community services. So I decided eventually that I will go for community services, which was because honestly speaking, the fees were really affordable, and there in this course that I did, there is a lot of areas that they cover. They cover a little bit of like biological side, where it's like human development, child development, psychology, counseling, Australian laws. So for me, I just felt like, oh, it's like a very good whole package. Like I get a little bit of everything, and in the future there are many areas that I could go and work in. So eventually I decided to go for that. But trust me, those 2 months that I took to decide which course was so hard, because I have my parents with their opinions, right? They're like, no, stay in IT. You've already invested this many years. Or like, if you're gonna change, why don't go to nursing, right? Like, be a nurse. I heard it's better to be a nurse in Australia. So there's so many opinions that's coming through. You have your own opinions, and it's very hard to like persuade them and just make them reason with you. So those 2 months were very, very hard for me, just coming to a decision and just making my parents just stand in my shoe and just know that what I'm feeling and what I want to do in the future. So eventually we all together decided, yeah, let's do community services. So I did that for 3 years. I just finished my bachelor's recently, and right now, also I should let you know, I actually had to apply for my visa a couple of times. So I was in student visa first time, and then I had to extend it when I went to bachelor's of community services. And at the end, this is a long story, but because of some things that universities and colleges do, their policies and stuff, I had to do my last internship after I finished all my other studies. It just happened to work like that. So I had to extend my student visa one more time. So in total, I extended twice. So I was in student visa maybe just say maybe 3 times. And right now I am on my graduate visa. Temporary graduate visa.
When did you apply for your temporary graduate visa?
I think it was around November last year.
Okay,
2020.
so only a few months has been passed now.
Yes.
So how long do you get for?
With my course, I got 2 years, but I've been hearing that nowadays they have made it 3 years. I'm not entirely sure, but for me personally, it was 2 years.
Yeah. So there critical skills in that occupation list, which they roll out every year. If you are on that list, then critical sector list, then you might get extended TR, temporary graduate, which is 485 subclass. But normally is 2 to 3 years of bachelor's or master's, you get 2 years, and less than that, you get only 1 year or 6 to 18 months, depending upon the type of degree you do. So your bachelor's or community was for 3 years?
Yes, the course altogether was 3 years.
That's how you got it, 2 years. Okay. Next question. Living in Australia as a Nepalese, how do you stay connected to your language, your roots, your cultural festivals? And I know your first answer, you're gonna say ImmiBook app, but but before that.
Yeah, you read my mind again. Before ImmiBook ever came to my life, I think it was a little bit hard for me to attend my cultural events and everything, because I'm a really introverted person. So if there is no one going with me to an event, I would just end up not going. So in those ways, I did miss out a lot of events too. So after I started having my family members or my friends join me, we would just celebrate by ourselves in our apartments, or we would just go to an event all together. But the thing is, like, sometimes there's so many events happening, and there's so many places that they advertise the events, right? So it's always like, oh, I saw this on Facebook, oh, I saw this here, I saw this there. So it's end of the day, you just all like, oh, wait, I think mine's better. So it's very hard to find the events you want to go in one place, because everybody's like divided, So in this way, I think ImmiBook does a really good job, because I have used that myself, right? And I did find a lot of things there. And because I'm sharing those with my friends too, so like instead of like going to a particular social media app and just searching like, oh, events, like holy events near this area, I just go to like, I can go to your app and just do that, and all the events come up there.
Yeah,
especially catered to like cultural events. Like if Holi is right in the corner, you have all those events listed there, which is really nice. Like I don't have to go and search by myself and just be like, oh, events.
I didn't pay her for saying this, okay?
You should.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yes. So ImmiBook is an app. Go download, link is in the description. Alright, so what is something that you are proud of but you rarely talk about?
What I really talk about?
Rarely talk about.
Oh, rarely talk about. Okay, I was like, wait. Something I'm so proud of actually this year is that I have finally started saving up, which I struggled to do in all my years. So that's been a really, really big achievement for me. Other than that, I think some little things, little achievements that I've had over the years is like just how, even though I'm an introvert, I told you before, I'm just coming out of my shell. I can make friends more easily, if I'm at work, like I'm not as shy to like talk to them, or like if I have a responsibility at work, if I'm at a certain position, I don't have the shyness or the fear to just approach people and then delegate work. That has been a very, very big change in me personally, because at one time, when I was working at Domino's, and so there were days where I would have to like run the shift, right? So I was 19 at that age, 19, 20. So those years, it was very hard for me to just go up to people and be like, hey, could you do this please? Like, like I didn't know the way you talk to people when you want them to do something. So slowly over the years, over the responsibilities and everything I've had over the years, I think right now I'm at a position that it's not as hard. Like when I am, at a position where I have to ask people, I can easily do that. And I can do it in a way that makes people want to do it. It's not like I'm being bossy, or it's not like I'm being, like a manager on their toes. Like, it's not like that.
So what are the things which you actually learned over the years, which you'd like to share with people who are actually listening to this? Because Australia is a successful migrant country. We hear every day, we hear a lot of different accents, and then the way you say it is very different in every other culture as well. So for example, a Malaysian tonality of the voice would be really different than from an Australian. So how did you manage that, and what did you learn over the years which you want to share?
So is this regarding how I speak, or is this regarding just personal things?
Like how did you switch your mind to understand so many different accents at a time? Because I'm sure Domino's also had diversification in terms of cultural and different.
Yeah, there was definitely different backgrounds. I think eventually over the years you do get used to it. So there is a lot of that just comes with time, that you just start picking up on things, you start picking up on slangs. Like even like recently, the other day, I just found out that my friend was just like, oh, I'm just gonna chuck a Yui. And I was like, wait, what's that? And she's like, oh, I'm just gonna chuck a Yui. So well, that's just saying that, oh, they're gonna take a U-turn.
So the Aussie slang.
Yeah, the Aussie slang. So even after like 7 years, there are still things that you find new. So you're always learning. I don't think there's like a trick that just makes you understand everything. So other than that, I think it's just also very important to be honest. If you're not understanding, just be like, I'm so sorry. I am, like just say like, oh, I haven't had my coffee, but could you repeat that please? Like, I didn't really understand. I didn't really catch that. So just try to joke and just try to like, don't be so serious. Just try to joke and just try to ask them to repeat nicely. Usually people are so nice, they will just repeat or they'll just go slow for you. Like I have this one example. In one of my recent job, I had this customer who is Scottish. So if you know Scottish accents, it's really
Very
thick,
thick,
like it's
heavy.
very hard to understand. So even when they were asking for something, I was just like, I feel like I'm understanding what they're asking, and they're like just like, oh, water, and I was like, water is right there. Eventually I found out they were looking for butter for their banana bread, and I kept giving them water. So at one point both of us had to stop and we were like, so sorry, could you repeat that one more time? And he's like, butter for the banana bread, and I was like, oh, got it. Yeah.
So how many times did you ask to repeat?
At least 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. And because you're doing some other things, like you're doing other tasks, so when they just randomly come to you and ask you for something, your brain cannot connect like what they're looking for. Once you just like hold for a little bit, just see they're holding a banana bread, they're asking for something that sounds like butter, so maybe it is butter, So it does take a while.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah.
So back to the question. What advice would you give to upcoming international students?
Yes, I think I have 2 different types of people I wanna give my tips to, not advice. So it's people who have already made up their mind that they want to come to Australia, and others who have not made up their mind and still deciding, So if you're still deciding, I think my biggest advice is to like do very deep research. Like, is that the course you really want to study, or is that something just somebody is telling you to study, And just what are your future goals? Like, do you want to study that for a long time, or if you want to be in this country for a long time? You should do all those studies before and then make up your mind, right? Because I did a very quick decision, so it was a little bit hard for me. And just even before coming, you should also see like which state do you want to go to? Like, which state do you resonate more with? Or maybe if you're really into cultural things, like which state has the most people from your culture. Like, do all those research before just coming here, because you might not think it in the first few months, but eventually when you're in that place for a long time, it builds, and like you have a lot in your mind that you want to, for example, like if somebody is really cultural, they want to do everything, they want to celebrate all their festivals, but they're in a place where they have not much of their same cultural people, right? You know what I mean? So they might not be able to celebrate. They might just be stuck at home, and they might just be stuck at their work, and eventually it all builds up because they're not being able to do what they want to do. So I think research on those kind of things is very important. For people who've probably already decided that, yeah, they do want to go to Australia, or maybe like they do want to go to just, Sydney. They've already made up their mind. I think it's important to do research on your universities. It's important to do a little bit background check on which area you're gonna stay. Although it's not as easy as it sounds, because there are many places that you have to come into Sydney and then look for yourself, or you might not have the freedom of choosing a place, right? But still, even after you come to Australia, you should just have a look like, oh, is this area good for me? Like, is my university close from here? Like, I always feel like, for me, location, my apartment location should be close to my jobs, not my university. That's
Why is
one of
that?
my tips, because for me, I used to go uni twice a week. I had 3 classes in 2 days. So I'm going uni twice a week, but I'm going to my work like 5 days a week, So I would rather travel from uni when I'm not so physically exhausted for a longer time than traveling from work when I'm physically mentally exhausted. So I always had that preference that I would actually want my job to be close to my home. Another tip for everybody would be just having, like helpful apps. Like there's an app called
ImmiBook?
I was gonna come to that, but there's also another app called TripView. as everybody knows, right? Like it's little things that makes your life so much easier in Australia. Like could be the Opal app, could be the Trip View app. Because for me, I never really used Google Maps before I came to Australia. And when I first had to use it, I missed my bus millions of times. At 11 p.m. I would take the wrong bus and I was coming back from city and I had to change my bus to go home, and I got in the same bus and I went back to city at 11 p.m. So because I couldn't really use Google Maps that well, like I get confused between the bus stands, bus numbers and stuff, so it was a bit hard for me. So just having all the helpful apps, including ImmiBook, I think is very important.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of pre-arrival things which people will tell you, or migration agents will tell you, but mostly people or students where they struggle is the post-arrival. How do you open the bank account? How do you apply for a TFN? The transport, where do I go? What do I do? And in Australia, yes, people are helpful, but as an introvert, like you said, you were introvert, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to just say hi to anyone, because I can relate that. I'm also an introvert. Like I used to be a bit extrovert, but it's very hard. Like you think in your mind 100 times, should I say, ask, and what do I do? Will that person judge me? Will that person laugh on me? And then, with that fear in mind, I never used to ask.
Yeah.
I used to Google it, and then if I get an answer, I get an answer. If I don't get an answer, I just go with the flow and see what happens. Then I learn from a mistake. But it's very important for people coming in who should have, that post-arrival checklist as well, on things to do, things to find. I think that will help a lot as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. Because I'm thankful that I had my cousin here who helped me through all these things, right? He was like, the day after I came, he was like, let's get your bank account started because that's one of the most important things. Straight after we went to apply for my TFN, taxpayer number. So I was thankful. I'm really thankful still that he was here for me, and he just, made my transition very, very easy. But I know also there are people who are not as fortunate, right? They have to figure out everything by themselves if they're in the country by themselves with no support. So I think at those times, community matters a lot. Like people from your community. For example, if you've never even started your first job, you've never met anyone else in this country, you're literally by yourself, right? I think the first thing I would do was just go to at least Google things, like, if there are like any community centers, or if there's like any, because almost every area has community centers. You could go there and like meet people with your culture, right? Or just do everything online, like just catch up with people online on social media, on ImmiBook. I know you have a section where people can post all their questions, if I'm not wrong.
Ask community.
Yeah, so exactly, like if you ask your community, and hopefully the community is very helpful and they're not trying to scam you, that would be good. So just ask your community, ask some questions, but take the first step, because I think if you never take the first step, you're always going to struggle. Because it's for you, you're doing this all for yourself, right?
Yeah, that's actually very true. And taking that first step matters a lot. And then most of us don't take that first step for sure. And that we always end up living in fear, and then I'm just missing. Okay, let's just skip to this part.
Yep.
All right.
Or what's worse is settling for less, because you're so scared to ask people. You're just like, well, this thing looks good enough too. Maybe I just go and get this bank account. I won't even research. I'm just happy because I don't have to talk to anybody. I'll just go to this one. You might settle for less.
Yeah. Right. Let's just end the podcast. We're becoming very close to the end for now. I know there's a million questions I would actually want to ask, get the nitty-gritty stuff out of you, but saying that, let's just keep the first podcast a bit light, and just so that people can resonate, and also they can get the top line information. And of course, you're always welcome back, and then let's share more. Let's take deep. Whatever questions people will be asking you, let's just create one more podcast afterwards, and then just answer those questions, So, yeah. Okay, rapid fire round.
Okay, that's a bit scary.
Don't worry. You won't get only 10 seconds to answer. You take your time,
Okay.
but only 40 seconds.
Okay. At least. That's
All right.
something.
So, the first question. Tell me any one book, either or. Just tell me any one book, movie, or a song that got you through your hard times.
That's a very tough question again because all my preferences keep changing. But honestly, if I can be a little bit out of the box, I would want to say a podcast because recently I've been so into Jay Shetty's podcast and it's helped me in a lot of areas in my life. And even when I was, like a little bit younger, there were times that when I would hear certain podcasts, it would just really uplift me or motivate me, either it was just to like show up at work or like just, pick up your energy and go out for a social event. Just personal development and everything. I think for me, podcasts have been much more helpful. Recently, I'm not very good at reading books because I would read maybe first 10-20 pages, but then I forget about it for months. So
You can take anyone if you want.
I know you have a lot of here, but I really don't feel like, for me, I like to just listen while I'm doing things. Like for example, I just like to put it on when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm cooking, and I just keep that on my headphones and I just listen to it.
Maybe this book will help you.
Surrounded by setbacks. I think I've read that one actually.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Next question. So, what would you send as a message to your past self during your first year in Australia?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
I think I would tell little Esta that, life gets easier and you eventually figure out ways to handle different challenges. And although at the time it may feel like, oh, it's a very big deal when I'm having a really hard time, I'm struggling so much, but eventually you learn so many things that all those things that were troubling you before eventually become so much easier. You have you start having a very strong mindset that helps you overcome all these little obstacles, So I think it really helps you build a mindset for the future where things actually get really more serious and more difficult, right? So I just want to tell my past younger self that you get better at doing things. You have a stronger mindset. So just get through life. It's so hard. No, actually, I would want to say, Esta, that you'll figure everything out. You have mentality, blah, 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 that I said before. But I think the most important thing is to enjoy that present moment, When I'm first coming to Australia and I'm so worried about everything, but just try to soak everything, all your first times, my first time opening a bank account, my first time visiting the opera house, just try to soak everything in because soon all these touristy things become your everyday life and you kind of forget how beautiful all those things are. So I really feel like it's very important to enjoy all those little things too. Maybe it's first time going to an Australian pub, you see all these Aussies drinking, all these first things that you do. I think it's very important to enjoy that.
Yeah, well said. We're always running towards our destination, but we forget to enjoy our journey.
Yeah. You're so you're always looking for a job when you first come. You're like, oh, is this a good job? Is this a good job? Should I apply here? You kind of forget that you have to enjoy these little things that are around you as well.
Yeah, and you're actually living someone else's dream. There's so many people who apply for coming to Australia. There's 1.2 million. I was reading the stats. 1.2 million people apply for an Australian visa every year, and the acceptance rate is just 5 to 15%. So you're actually living, someone else's dream. So if you've got the visa, then enjoy.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Right. Next question. What is your one favorite thing about Australia that you never expected to love?
I think,
tough one, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
I think for me, more than the country itself, it's a beautiful country, right? But I think it's Aussies, the people here, right? At least the ones I have met. are so chill. Like they take life so, they enjoy their life, you know. So sometimes you must be feeling like, oh, this is my manager, you know, this is like, I have to have this like certain formal tone, I have to talk to them this way, but they're so chill about, you know, everything. They joke around with you, and these things about like the Aussie people, you know, like just enjoying life and just so casual, and I love that particular thing about them. The other thing is like, it doesn't really sound that professional, right? But I think everything is so much for the vibes, you know, like, oh, it's a sunny day, let's go to the pub, have a beer. Oh, it's like a cold day, let's have a hot chocolate in the morning. It's like everything is so casual and so enjoyable. And there are things that they advertise as well, you know, like to enjoy certain things at certain weather. So it's very, what else? There are so many things, but now you put me on the spot, it's so hard to pick. Tim Tams. Tim Tams. Tim Tams that's been frozen.
Frozen Tim Tams.
So crunchy.
How can you eat it?
Just bite it. Anyway.
It's frozen.
You can eat it. People eat ice.
Huh?
People eat ice.
Yeah, I know. Weird stuff, but okay. Weird stuff for me. Alright, next question. What is your next big dream? I really put you on a spot, right?
I have a few things on my mind. I don't know if I should say this, you decide. If this is too much, you can cut it out. But as you know, I'm working in a cafe right now. And I have been for a couple of years, right? Like I have a background in working in cafe. So eventually in the future, I do want to have my own little coffee shop, little cafe, where I can design it the way I want to, and I can have all this food. Maybe I'll have like a Nepalese infusion, Aussie, you know, cuisine. I do have a dream to open a cafe in the future. There are some other dreams too, like, as you know, I studied community services and I did counseling. So there's a little bit of me that I want to do a little bit more of the counseling course, and I want to upskill that area and hopefully be a counselor in the future. So there are a few dreams going on this little head.
That's really interesting, because even though this is the first podcast, people I talk to outside, so many people, right? So everybody's just dream is just permanent residency, citizenship, permanent residency, citizenship.
Yeah.
That is a good dream, really good. I'm not denying that fact, but there's more to it. It's a visa, but it's not your livelihood.
Yeah.
Yes, it brings a lot of stress, because without a visa, you're an illegal immigrant in this country. But saying that, there's a lot of other things rather than just a visa. What about your daily life? What about your marriage life, social life? What about your financial life? So that's good. Very good.
Yes.
How did I do?
As a first-time host, I think you did great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you actually have really good questions. I'm surprised. I didn't really think it's gonna be this deep. I was just gonna, you know,
I was just where
wing
did
it
it come
out.
from? Then
Yeah, where you come from,
questions
what are you
like-
doing, how much do you earn? Actually, you didn't ask that.
A key is this. These books which you're seeing right here. All right. Okay. So closing up, if people want to connect with you or seek advice or consultation, so would you be open to do that?
Yeah, sure. I honestly wouldn't mind that at all, because I want to help future, you know, students or just any immigrant coming to Australia, and I don't want them to feel missing out, or you know, with what's the correct word? I don't want them to feel like they're by themselves, just figuring everything out. So I would be very happy to, you know, do that.
And what else can they expect from you?
Well, if it's anything I have any expertise in, like if it's anything about like working in the service industry, or maybe just how do I make friends here, or maybe how do I balance or wing my, you know, work and life. So anything that is related or anything that I've done in my past, I would be more than happy to share that. But if it's something that I've never done in my life, I don't think I would be very good at giving any advice on that.
Right, okay, thank you. Any last message before closing this up for international students?
Sure. I would just want to say that it's a big step coming to a new country, and it takes a lot of courage to come out of this little comfortable house that you've lived in all your life, right? Since you were born, or like, with your parents, and just with all of your support system, all of your childhood friends, everyone. So it takes a lot of courage to step out of that, come to a new country, start by yourself, make new friends, and you make so many people that feel like family to you once you come here, right? So I would just want to say that just don't give up, and if it feels hard, honestly it gets harder, but just don't give up, and you've got it in you. You've already come outside your country to a new place, so you've got that courage in you, and you can definitely keep on going if you believe in yourself. To people who have not yet decided to leave the country, or like, not yet decided they want to study abroad yet, I think for them, I really want to just say that be prepared of what's out there, and by like even this podcast, if it's any help to you, or any other podcast or any other stories that you've seen, just prepare yourself and make sure you have a very strong mindset that you're ready for that, because it will be tough. First year, second year, it's definitely tough, so we should be prepared for that too.
Yeah, no, that's well said, because nobody prepares for that.
Yeah. It's all nice, like flowers and rainbows, and you come here and it's all storm and rain,
And cactus.
Cactus, cactus.
All right, that was the end. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for so much great advice. And I'll leave the link in the description for your calendar. If people would like to book something, we've got on our portal as well. People would like to book something, then they can just book through your calendar, and then share as much as information or questions, answer the questions do they have.
Sure, I would love to do that, and thank you for having me in your first episode of your podcast. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I can come even in the future episodes.
Of course, most welcome. Just bring some gifts for me. All right, thank you.
Thank you.